have launched a GoFundMe specifically targeting Altadena. Visit LA Fires. The impacted Black community urgently needs help on GoFundMe, and donate to help Black evacuees fighting for survival. Airbnb is offering free temporary housing to people displaced by the fires. Call 211 to sign up. The LA Chamber of Commerce is stepping up to help you sort out insurance claims and other paperwork. Reach them at 213-580-7500. South LA Cafe has free groceries, clothing, and water available at 1700 Browning Boulevard in LA. Track their giveaways or volunteer through their Instagram at South LA Cafe. U-Haul is donating short-term storage free of charge for 30 days to evacuees. Shelter for small or large animals can be accessed by calling 211. A Black-led coalition of community organizations is offering support and resources in the Altadena area at the Flint Ridge Center at 236 West Mountain Street in Pasadena. For comprehensive lists of resources for housing, food, shelter, and more, visit Mutual Aid LA Network on Instagram. Praying for LA and standing with you. KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, we chanting a movement of people. It's like we dancing to the ministry of. It's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the peace, the power, the truth. We speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping Black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the poor and where the prisons is. I was told good life is where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind. Caress the mind and question justified with you and God.
You are listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nicole Corte, your host and chief White House correspondent. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nicole. Just type in Dr. Niq, DRNIIQ, and there I am, ripe for you to follow. Also, be sure to subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast. Powered by KBLA Talk 1580. That way, you'll never, ever, ever miss an episode. Also, download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or simply tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580. I had to remind my mom yesterday, who was running errands, and said, I may not make it home in time to listen to the show, which is 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And I said, well, Mom, you can just listen to us while you're shopping in the store through the app. And she remembered. And so if you are out there on the road, of course, you're listening to us on the good old fashioned radio. But if you're running errands, don't be shy about using your KBLA app. All right, now it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. A headline that so many of us weren't so sure we would see before President Biden passed the torch to his successor. But NBC News reporting that the Israel and Hamas reach a deal on the Gaza ceasefire and hostage release. A ceasefire deal was reached today to end 15 months of fighting in the Gaza Strip. This according to President Biden, Qatar's prime minister, and Hamas officials. The hard-won agreement will also freeze dozens of hostages. It will free dozens of hostages held in Gaza, as well as Palestinians in Israeli jails, bringing the first real break in violence since the week-long truce expired December 1st, 2023. The deal will take effect Sunday, according to Qatar's prime minister and foreign minister, and all the folks whose countries hosted weeks of intense negotiations. And so a bit of good news for folks that are in search of peace. And of course, on what would have been the 96th birthday of Martin Luther King Jr., someone who was anti-war and very much pro-peace. And so that happening today. Another win for President Joe Biden as he's almost out the door. USA Today reporting that in last major batch of student loan relief, Biden forgives $4.5 billion for 261,000 borrowers. You might be one of them. The Biden administration approved its last major batch of student loan relief today, greenlighting $4.5 billion in forgiveness for, again, that's 261,000 borrowers. The recipients of the debt cancellation attended Ashford University, which is a former for-profit school at the U.S. Department of Education determined made substantial misrepresentations about its program quality and costs to the federal student loan borrowers. The school was later acquired by the University of Arizona, which enlisted Ashford's parent company, Zovio, to run the University of Arizona Global Campus. The federal agency greenlit the relief through legal grounds called Borrower Defense to Repayment, a program that allows the federal government to grant discharges for defrauded students. Borrowers approved through the program usually have taken out loans to attend schools subsequently found to have engaged in misconduct, such as exaggerating how much money students can expect to make after graduation. And so very much good news in news that not so good. Nonprofit founded by Stacey Abrams admits to secretly aiding her 2018 campaign. The New York Times reporting that the nonprofit founded by Stacey Abrams, a Georgia Democrat, admitted on Wednesday that it had violated state laws by concealing the fact that it had campaigned for her during her 2018 run for governor. At the time of the campaign, the group was led by Raphael Warnock, who was later elected to the Senate as a Democrat from Georgia. At a meeting of the state's Ethics Commission, the nonprofit, the New Georgia Project, conceded that it had paid for flyers and door-to-door canvassers telling voters to support Ms. Abrams and other Democrats. Under federal law, tax-exempt charities like this are forbidden to campaign for candidates, but the case was about a violation of state law. When we come forward, you get to lean in to my conversation with Yvette Nicole Brown. We had a wonderful conversation just earlier today about Michelle Obama, about her new show, Yvette's new show on BET Plus, Khloe Kardashian. We talk about it all. And you better not miss a second. More with Yvette Nicole Brown when we come forward. You are listening to and streaming a More Perfect Union in Afternoon Drive Time on KBLA Talk 1580.
We gon' be alright.
KBLA Talk 1580 is amplifying Black voices and spotlighting our untold stories. I'm Dominique DePrima. Join me Thursday from 6 to 9 a.m. as we broadcast live from the Altadena, Pasadena area. Due to the National Guard closing down this section, we will not be at Perry's Joint. Our new location is the Pasadena Church East Campus at 425 Sierra Madre Villa. We'll be covering the individuals and families impacted by the Altadena Eaton fire. Hear from community leaders and those who have suffered losses that must
You're
not
listening
be
to
forgotten. So join us Thursday at the Pasadena Church East Campus at 425 Sierra Madre Villa. Together we can help them rebuild and recover. Together we are LA Strong, LA United. With your friends at KBLA Talk 1580.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-550-9651.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hit me!
National News: The Consequence. Informed opinion.
And analysis beyond the headlines.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nicole Corte, and thrilled to be in conversation with Yvette Nicole Brown. We're really thrilled to learn about her newest project, The Family Business New Orleans. The show premieres with the first 2 episodes on January 23rd on BET Plus and will air each Thursday through March. Yvette, welcome to the show.
Thank you. And you may have the most perfect name I've ever heard.
That is very kind of you. Very kind of you. Tell us about this new show, The Family Business New Orleans. It feels a little bit different than what we are used to seeing you in. And, you're a fan favorite. I mean, who didn't love you in the NBC sitcom Community or the reboot of The Odd Couple on CBS? I mean, even the ABC sitcom The Mayor. I mean, you're everywhere, but this one feels a little bit different.
Yeah, this one is grittier and juicier and is an adult drama, which I don't normally do. I don't normally do dramas, and I'm so PG-13. I'm usually not in the adult space. But this is, for grown folk, and it's a spinoff of the amazing Family Business that's been on BET for 5 seasons now. And now the Duncan family is now expanded, and we're in New Orleans, and we have the great Brandon T. Jackson and Leela Rashawn as our leads. And it's set in the Midnight Blues, which is a family-owned casino, and Big Shirley, played by Leela, is trying to protect the business from a big bad played by David Banner. There's something that happens at the Midnight Blues that causes a ruckus in New Orleans. And, now they have to bring some of the Duncan family down to help them save their family business. And I play Monique. I'm the cousin of Leela. And I'm a bit of comedic relief at times. And I'm also a bit of muscle when need be.
A bit of muscle, to say the least. Now, you mentioned that, this one is pretty gritty. It's pretty action-packed. I mean, Brandon T. Jackson, Leela Rashawn, Pooch Hall, David Banner. This is not Queen Sugar. This is very different than that. Talk to us about whether or not you had any sort of reticence about the grittiness.
I stay in the PG-13 lane primarily because I started my career as a on a kids show, Drake and Josh, and I do a lot of Disney shows. So I try not to be a part of things that might confuse kids if they happen to run across them. But I can say that even though the show is gritty, my role in the show is more middle of the road. And I think, listen, every show isn't for the children, and this one is not for the children. But I think that every story is important to be told, and I'm happy to bring my brand of humor to support, my brothers and sisters as they're creating something that'll, be a bit of a respite and a little bit of fantasy for people to tap into as we begin this next season of darkness as a nation.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that was a part of my entry point into the show when I first learned about it. I wasn't sure if it was for me, but working between Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles, I need some respite.
Come on.
And I want to be able to take my mind off of, the day's events and news of the day. And this show really helps to really sort of bring us into a world that for so many of us is unfamiliar. And, all of the action aside, it's the story about a family.
Yeah.
It's a story about a family business. It's a story about a family where you got Black folks living in New Orleans and Black folks living in New York.
Right.
And sometimes those family dynamics, are at odds with each other. Talk to us about the family element that really draws folks into this show.
Well, you know what I want to say. For years we've all watched movies like The Godfather, and we've seen what a mafia family looks like. This is the first time you get to see a family business, quote unquote, with black folk as the lead. And in the same way, you watch The Godfather and you don't want to be a Corleone. You're not trying to do crimes, but you can watch the family dynamic played out in that scenario. That's what this is. So don't be afraid of seeing us be the big bads and the tough people and the strong people, because the through line is family. And that's what this show is really about. And it just happens to be that their family business isn't something that most of us should aspire to. I'll just say that. And I personally don't aspire to, but I'm happy to show the love and the camaraderie and the community amongst this family.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Godfather, the Corleones, and as I was preparing for our conversation, that was one of the things that came to mind. It's like, oh my goodness, all these years later, finally we see a family on TV, a black family that really is giving that Corleone energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And isn't it time? And why can't we take the ride? It's all fantasy. So why can't we take the ride in these shoes for once? You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So that's
yeah,
the way I looked at it.
yeah. What was it like working with Lulu Rashawn and Brandon T. Jackson, David Banner? What was it like working with them?
It was like having a family reunion or a cookout every day. So imagine getting to go to a good cookout where the potato salad is delicious every single day. That's what it was like. And it also begins at the top. We're working with Carl Weber, a New York Times bestselling author who wrote the books that the shows are based on, and every episode. And then we have Indy Brown, our wonderful showrunner, and Trey Haley, our director. They've created a world from top to bottom where we feel safe, supported, celebrated. And it's just the whole set, our network, the set, the crew, the cast. It's just so much delicious blackness. I don't even know what to say.
Well, we want to make sure that folks go out and see this BET original series. It's Carl Weber's The Family Business New Orleans. Again, it's going to premiere with 2 episodes on January 23rd, 2025, exclusively on BET Plus. The series will continue with 1 episode weekly, with the finale on Thursday, March 6th. And for folks that, are looking to devote your time and attention to something different than the news, you really got something special here. Yvette, I would be remiss, speaking of the news, if I didn't ask you about some of the ways in which you are trending in the news. But first, I've got to ask you, how are you doing? How is your family doing? How are your friends doing as folks begin the long journey to recover from the LA wildfires?
My family and I are doing well. Thankfully, the fires, we're hidden from the fires. They have not found us, thank God. But I know so many friends that have had to evacuate, and a couple that lost everything. So this is just it's a tender time, right? And, I'm trending because I believe in getting into good trouble, like Representative John Lewis taught us. And I don't let anybody talk slick about our people. And when there's misinformation afoot, which we're going to be dealing with a lot more after that orange beast gets back in power, when you see something, you got to say something. This is not the time to see someone trying to tear down one of us and go, oh, I hope it works out. No. Make sure it works out. Get in the fight. And so I've been waging a war against anybody trying to blame a natural disaster on Mayor Karen Bass. We have had firefighters and scientists talk about how we had hurricane force winds in LA, which we've never had, which prevented the helicopters and airplanes that drop water from being able to fly that entire first day. And then you add hurricane force winds. So what's going to happen when you put those 2 perfect storms together? You're going to have a wildfire that's out of control that spreads. That has nothing to do with the mayor of LA. And also, she's the mayor of LA, not California. So they are literally blaming her for things that are happening in jurisdictions and municipalities she doesn't have any power in. So there's a lot of misinformation, and I refuse to let it happen on my watch. She is a lifetime public servant. If anyone Googles her name and sees how long she's been working for everybody, she's a servant leader, and you want to blame her? Now, why is it that we're blaming her? Isn't that interesting for a natural disaster?
A lot of that going around. We blaming a lot of hers
And
these
aren't
days.
we? A lot of hers with melanin, aren't we?
Well, speaking of hers with melanin and who may be melanin adjacent, Yahoo Entertainment reminds us that you reminded Khloe Kardashian of her family's water use after she criticized the LA mayor. Khloe Kardashian, of course, continues to receive criticism after she called Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, quotes, a joke for allegedly cutting the city's fire department budget months before the devastating wildfires. That is not true. What do you make of Khloe Kardashian just sort of suddenly engaging in advocacy efforts, but there's records that show that the Kardashian family was one of the worst offenders when it came to water use in Los Angeles County.
In the midst of a drought, by the way. It's the hypocrisy for me. I don't understand how when we're in a drought in California, there are water restrictions put on every citizen, and we're allowed to water maybe once a week or every other day, and we're allowed 8 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever the drought requires for us to save water for what? For wildfires. And in 2022, Kim and one of her sisters, Chloe and one of her sister Kim, they used 330,000 gallons over the limit in 1 month. And guess where those 330,000 gallons would have gone? Into the reservoir to protect us if there's a what? A fire. So you want to talk to me about what causes the devastation? It's when you don't have any water in the reservoirs, and they contributed to that. So tell me what the joke is. What's the joke? Because it surely isn't Karen Bass.
Mm-hmm. Yvette, how concerned are you about public officials really taking advantage of crises, of natural disasters, and politicizing them while people are grieving and in search for whatever help or resource they can get? We certainly have seen this related to Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene, affecting folks in Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. We're seeing it with the LA wildfires, where the fires aren't even out. All of them aren't even out, and we're seeing folks make political attacks at the very public servants that are leading the emergency response. How concerned are you about this?
I'm very concerned. I think it's disgusting. And this attack against Karen Bass began from Rick Caruso, who is a billionaire who ran against her and lost. And I believe he's eyeing another run for mayor. He's one that came against her about the housing crisis and claimed that he could fix it. And he has done nothing for the housing to help those that are displaced before he ran, while he ran, or after. And now he's using the fire as a way to score political points and trying to make it seem like Mayor Bass isn't doing everything that she can. I know what it is. We know what it is. If you paid any attention to the election of 2024, you know what this is. They start speaking lies and they push out misinformation. And if no one fights back and beats back the lies, it crystallizes and it congeals and it becomes, quote unquote, a truth about a good person. And so we have to all fight against it. And if you think what I'm doing is a big deal, y'all better all get ready and giddy up, because what that orange beast is going to bring is going to be an attack on all fronts against all of us that have melanin. And if you're not ready to fight, we going to all be in trouble. So if you see something, say something.
Well, if you see something, say something. Certainly, Michelle Obama, our forever first lady, must have seen enough, because Michelle Obama will not be attending the inauguration of President-elect Donald Trump. That's what her office said in a statement. Former President Barack Obama is confirmed to attend the 60th inaugural ceremonies, but former First Lady Michelle Obama will not attend the upcoming inauguration. Yvette Nicole Brown, you are steeped in the tradition of Representative John Lewis, as you said earlier, making good trouble. What do you make of our forever First Lady not being in attendance?
I love her so much, because she said, you're not going to have me at this clown show. And this is the thing. She's standing on business because she spoke very clearly about what she thinks of that beast of a person. And for her to show up in her finest clothing and give them the fashion show they don't deserve. No, She said, I'll be home. I'll be in my bonnet. I'll be at the spa. I'll be at brunch with friends. I'll be watching episodes of Good Times or whatever. She's going to be doing something good and black on Martin Luther King Day and not sitting up there watching a felon get re-inaugurated. I know that there are certain things certain people have to do, but I think sometimes our civility is our decency will be our detriment. You can honor our country and honor our people, but not celebrate a fascist that's about to take power. So I support her 100%.
What will you be doing on MLK Day, which happens to also be Inauguration Day this year? What will you be doing?
Honoring the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. and celebrating the fierceness of Michelle Obama. And I will be in a bonnet with my feet up, drinking some tea and minding my Black business, because what's happening in Washington on that day is above me now. I'm one of the 92%. I'm going to sit it out. I'm going to continue to strategize and find ways to uplift our people on that day. And I'm going to keep it moving. But I will not be watching. I didn't watch when that clown was inaugurated in 2016. And I don't believe in normalizing what is not normal. A felon in the White House, someone who stole our national secrets, someone who is a white supremacist and a convicted rapist in the White House, and we supposed to show up and act like and Carrie Underwood gonna sing America the Beautiful or whatever the heck she trying to do? No, we will not be a part of those shenanigans. No.
Yvette, in our remaining minute, I want to give you an opportunity to share what it means to you to celebrate Founders Day today.
Hey.
You are a part of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and just earlier this morning here in Washington, Vice President Harris popped up at the National Action Network MLK breakfast and delivered short remarks and wished folks a happy Founders Day. And so I've got to carry that message. What's your message to your AKA sisters, the Divine Nine, and just people who believe in service to mankind? What's your message to folks today?
Yeah, I am a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. In my 32nd year of being a member, I am just hoping that we can, especially on Martin Luther King's birthday today, that we can celebrate what he tried to do and what he tried to teach us. We are a sisterhood that believes in service to all mankind, and that's what we try to do in every way. And that's what I try to do by using my platform to get into good trouble, like Representative Lewis told us to do. And so I hope that everybody picks up that mantle and fights the good fight for the next 4 years and beyond. And skiwi to my sorors.
Our thanks to Yvette Nicole Brown. Y'all be sure to go out there and check out this show, The Family Business New Orleans, on BET Plus. You won't be disappointed. Thank you, Yvette, for all that you do.
Thank you, brother. Great to be here.
You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
About issues related to national politics, elections, identity, culture change, and social justice.
You tuned into the right place.
A More Perfect Union continues when we come forward.
The wind is blowing cold. Have we lost our way tonight? Have we lost our hope to sorrow?
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. President Biden is calling serving the nation for 50 years his greatest privilege. He highlighted stronger alliances, economic progress, and key achievements ahead of his farewell address tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. D.C. leaders are citing rising construction costs for the $1.5 million price tag of the Inauguration Day viewing stand at the Wilson Building, triple the 2017 cost. While some council members will not attend, Black Mayor Muriel Bowser and Ward 2's Brooke Pinto will use the stand. The first elected Chicago school board was sworn in today with 10 elected members and 11 appointed by Black Mayor Brandon Johnson. Their task includes selecting a vice president and negotiating a new Chicago teachers union contract. And Chanel Booker is making history as Middle Georgia's first Black U.S. attorney after being named acting U.S. attorney last week. She previously served as first assistant since 2022. I'm Amber Payton on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Ray Richardson.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. would have been 96 today. If he was still with us, he would likely be delighted with the significant progress made by African Americans in sports. When Dr. King was assassinated in 1968, there were no black managers in Major League Baseball. Today, there are two right here in LA. Ron Washington with the Angels and Dave Roberts with the Dodgers. There were no black quarterbacks in the NFL in 1968. When the 2024 season kicked off in September, 14 of the NFL's 32 teams started a black quarterback. There were no black head coaches in the NFL in 1968. Since 1989, the NFL has had 20. And there were no black head coaches in Division I college football in 1968. On Monday night in Atlanta, where Dr. King built his civil rights legacy, Notre Dame's Marcus Freeman has a chance to be the first black head coach to win a Division I football national championship. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you in tough times, connecting you with resources and what you need to know. Evacuation shelters are located in the Pasadena Civic Center, the Dream Center in LA, the Westwood Recreation Center, and many more. You can call 311 for details. Santa Anita Park in Arcadia is a pop-up mutual aid hub where you can pick up anything from clothing to food and hygiene supplies. If you're in Los Angeles County and in need of food, call Omni Ministries at 310-631-1557. Donations can be made to Zelle, Omni Ministries, Inc. at yahoo.com. Parking Lot I outside of Rose Bowl Stadium is a pop-up mutual aid hub where you can pick up everything from clothing to food to hygiene supplies for free. To volunteer or donate to help victims of the fire, contact the LA Emergency Network at enla.org. The Cochran Firm and Ivy McNeil, Wyatt Purcell and Diggs, Jasmine Canick, and others have launched a GoFundMe specifically targeting Altadena. Visit LA Fires. The impacted black community urgently needs help on GoFundMe, and donate to help black evacuees fighting for survival. Airbnb is offering free temporary housing to people displaced by the fires. Call 211 to sign up. The LA Chamber of Commerce is stepping up to help you sort out insurance claims and other paperwork. Reach them at 213-580-7500. South LA Cafe has free groceries, clothing, and water available at 1700 Browning Boulevard in LA. Track their giveaways or volunteer through their Instagram at South LA Cafe. U-Haul is donating short-term storage free of charge for 30 days to evacuees. Shelter for small or large animals can be accessed by calling 211. A Black-led coalition of community organizations is offering support and resources in the Altadena area at the Flint Ridge Center at 236 West Mountain Street in Pasadena. For comprehensive lists of resources for housing, food, shelter, and more, visit Mutual Aid LA Network on Instagram. Praying for LA and standing with you. KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to building a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nicole Corte, and this has been a very busy news day. Let me tell you. I mean, this morning, I don't know about you, but, I'm watching the confirmation hearings of Pam Bondi, who is up. She's been nominated to be our next attorney general. So I'm watching, that confirmation hearing, and then Senator Marco Rubio's confirmation hearing for Secretary of State. And then, of course, news sort of dust up about the Israel-Gaza ceasefire today. It's been a busy news day. But this morning, the vice president quietly slipped over to the National Action Network's Martin Luther King breakfast. And you better believe she has California, in particular, Altadena on her mind. Take a listen to what Vice President Harris had to say at today's prayer breakfast.
Good morning. Oh, good morning, Nan. Good morning to everyone. Please have a seat. I heard everybody was hanging out this morning. I thought I'd come by and say hi. And mostly, I just wanted to come by to thank everybody, starting with our Reverend Sharpton, for the truth tellers who are here. In the spirit of Dr. King and this day that we celebrate him, his birthday, January 15th, and every day, and the spirit with which he did what he did. Reverend Sharpton, you and the leaders of NAN live that legacy in every way that is important. This is about soldiers who understand the importance of using our feet, praying, doing good works that are about lifting up the people with a sense of optimism and purpose. Always, Nan, Reverend Sharpton, speaking truth, even when it is difficult to speak and more difficult to hear. The leaders here understand, as I often say, that the true measure of the strength of a leader is not based on who you beat down, it is based on who you lift up. I thank you for always lifting me up, but more importantly, I thank you for lifting up whole communities of people who must be seen and heard, and who deserve all the dignity that God gave them to be able to live a life that is productive and a life where they have a quality of life where they know how important they are and how powerful they are. So I came by to say thank you. As you all know, I am a native Californian, born in Oakland, California, but I do want to speak about the California fires and the devastation that has occurred in Southern California because of these most recent wildfires. Communities like Altadena, you're talking about generations of families that have lived there. Some of the first hardworking Black families who were able to buy property in California and then pass down those homes through generations. Many of those families who live in those homes and live intergenerationally within a block of each other, who have lost everything. So I want to speak about them. I know we pray for them. But also, I've been thinking about it also in the context of what I saw when I was in North Carolina, when I talked to families in Georgia after most recently Hurricane Helene. And so, Nan, as we move forward with this new year, one of the requests that I make of the leaders here is let's use the voice of Nan in a way that lifts up what these moments of tragedy and these extreme weather events are doing to the communities that you have historically worked to uplift. Because there are a couple things going on that I see as patterns. One is this, and it's about what the insurance companies are not doing to extend coverage. They are canceling coverage, making it more difficult for young homeowners who are just the first time buying their home, not even insuring them. And what that means to those families and whole communities with these predictable extreme weather events, which are increasing. Climate change is real. We have long known that some of the communities that will be most devastated by them are communities of color, hardworking communities, Black folks. We know when we talk about the Gulf states, right? So that's one issue. The other issue that these extreme weather events are highlighting, but is a big issue for all of us to deal with, is the rampant amount of mis and disinformation that is transiting throughout communities. And the work that we then must do to not only recognize that it's happening, but figure out how we're going to jump into that stream of mis and disinformation in a way that we at the very least can debate it based on the facts that we know to be true in terms of what's happening on the ground, but also to rebut the sources of that mis and disinformation, because it often leads the people who Nan has historically worked for in a place of despair and in a place of helplessness and hopelessness. Again, using as the example extreme weather events, when people are being told, oh, there will be no FEMA response, oh, you are not entitled to this or that, or leading them astray with information that is misinformation about what they will be entitled to, which exceeds what it might be, and then they feel disappointed and they turn the whole system off. So I'm here to talk about these couple of things because they've just been on my mind in the last week, but for quite some time. But again, I'm going to just close my comments by saying this. This is an extraordinary group of leaders. And what Dr. King taught us, and the King families here, you know, I'm always quoting Coretta Scott King. Ours is a journey. Ours is a journey. And the fight that we are in, which is the fight to uplift the people, the fight for freedom, the fight for civil rights, the fight for dignity, the fight for human rights, must be fought and won with each generation. And what we know is that our definition of the win is a definition that takes us over a period of time, where part of how we measure the win is, are we making progress? How we measure the win is based on the knowledge that it is an enduring fight, and that we must be strong, and that whatever the outcome of any particular moment, we can never be defeated. Our spirit can never be defeated, because when that happens, we won't win. And as far as I know and am concerned, when I look at the group of leaders here, this is a group of winners. This is a group of winners. So let's stay in the fight. Let's do what we got to do. And again, I thank you, Nan, for all that you have done for me and so many people who are not in this room. Be blessed. Have a wonderful new year. Thank you.
Martin.
This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We face tragedy,
but we don't fall into despair.
We continue our work to build a more perfect union.
You are streaming and listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nicole Corte, and you were just listening to Vice President Kamala Harris this morning at the National Action Network Martin Luther King breakfast. She stopped by. It was an unannounced, can't say unplanned, but an unannounced visit to the National Action Network breakfast this morning on what has been a very, very busy day, very busy news day. Clearly, the vice president, as she mentioned, had a lot on her mind, especially as it relates to the California wildfires, particularly the community of Altadena. You heard her talk about the insurance companies, and really, it's a reminder of how we need the insurance companies to do the right thing. I'm sure we'll hear more from the vice president after her final day in office, at some point. And, she has a standing invitation to come share with us what's on her mind post vice presidency right here on KBLA Talk 1580. But while we're waiting on her to do that, it's okay for you all to go out and purchase my book, Kamala, The Motherland and Me. I had a chance to travel to Ghana, to Tanzania, to Zambia, covering the vice president's historic trip. I am proud that my book has it's the only book interview that Vice President Harris has participated in as vice president. And so it's another opportunity for you to hear directly from Vice President Harris and learn about so many of the issues that endure on the continent. So be sure to check that out. All right. Now it's time for us to share a little bit about what's happening in the community. I know a lot of eyes and ears are on Los Angeles, and rightfully so. LA has experienced a natural disaster that we've never seen before. And not only is this national news, it's international news. A lot of people are paying extra close attention to what's happening and not happening in the city and county of Los Angeles. It's important to note that what's happening in LA, in my view, is the convergence of the climate crisis, the housing affordability crisis, and the insurance crisis, all happening at once. And as goes California, as goes the nation. For those that are in the pathway of hurricanes, for those who live in parts of the country that are in the pathway of tornadoes, for those that are in the pathway for major snowstorms and all sorts of just natural disasters, you better pay close attention to this, because whatever it is that insurance companies are able to get away with in California, whatever landlords are able to get away with in California, whatever sort of price gouging goes without any accountability in California, you better believe California is writing the playbook that so many other folks in other parts of the country are studying very closely. And so if we do right by the people in California, then we write the kind of playbook where folks may be more inclined to do right by folks in other parts of the country and other parts of the world. But here's just a few items that I think certainly caught my attention. I think it's going to catch yours. These are things that you need to know. This is sort of our community bulletin board, given the crisis that the people of the city and county of Los Angeles are facing at this hour. Mayor Bass is doing all that she can to expand more resources for Angelenos impacted by the firestorm. New resources that are now available include an established dedicated hotline for Angelenos who need help retrieving their pets inside the evacuation area. Residents can call 213-270-8155. That's 213-270-8155 to answer key questions about their pet, its possible location, and its needs. LA Animal Services and the Los Angeles Police Department will then notify individuals once they have visited the property. Also, Angelenos can now report price gouging by calling 311. That's all you got to do. Call 311. It is a criminal offense to violate the legal price restrictions for goods, including consumer goods, emergency cleanup supplies, and repair and reconstruction services. These protections also extend to housing costs, including hotels and motel rates and rental housing prices. And so don't try it. If you were thinking about squeezing people for a little bit more, don't try it, because all they got to do is call 311 to report it. Reporting price gouging to 311 will support city attorney and her office to hold bad actors accountable. So 311, it connects you to the city attorney to hold bad actors accountable. And then yesterday, you might have heard that Mayor Bass helped to open the city's Disaster Recovery Center. Now, this Disaster Recovery Center is a one-stop in-person information and resource center that has already provided assistance to, get this, more than 140 households impacted by the wildfire. In the spirit of Los Angeles, to come together as one community, the mayor will do all that she can to help Angelenos build their homes and businesses and communities back with absolute speed. That is her pledge to the people of LA. The Disaster Recovery Center will remain open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. to meet Angelenos' needs. If you want to learn more about this, you can just go to lacity.gov. That's lacity.gov. All right. You just go on over there and get connected to some resources. I just love that so many people inside and outside of government are rolling up their sleeves to do everything they can to support the people. This is what it is about. And speaking of supporting the people, are you familiar with Community Aid Dina? Shout out to the folks over at Afropunk and Walk Good LA and GoFundMe, as well as Community Aid Dina. They are a collective initiative coming together to amplify the fundraising efforts of the displaced Black families from Altadena and Pasadena due to the Eaton fire through a consolidated directory. Their directory contains links to verified individual fundraising campaigns led by families who've been directly affected. And by contributing to a GoFundMe, your funds are going directly to the listed families. And so if you're wondering, well, what's the vetting process of the list? Because there's list here, list there, list everywhere. GoFundMe is actively verifying each of the campaigns added to their list. And so if you'd like to submit a campaign, you can go ahead and email Community Aid Dina. That's Community AIDDENA at gmail.com. And just send the following details: your full name of family members, your GoFundMe link, and contact details of the family or the GoFundMe organizer. But before submitting a campaign, please double check that it's not already on the list. Also, please note that they're only taking submissions sent to their email. That's the only way you can get on the list. So, if you know somebody that's at Afropunk or Walk Good LA or that works for GoFundMe or that's an organizer with Community Aid Dina, don't just text them. Don't just text them. I just gave you the email address. I'll give it to you again. Community Aid Dina. That's Community AIDDENA at gmail.com. Just go ahead and submit your information to that email and they'll get back to you. Last time I checked, they had raised $10 million and counting. $10 million and counting. That's the power. When we bring it together, that's collective power right there. And so, every show, when I say, do what you can from where you are with what you have, this is what that can look like. This is what this can look like when we show up for one another in our time of need. And we are happy to promote that, happy to share that. When we come forward in our next hour, I'm really looking forward to digging into a conversation with Stephanie Coleman, who's celebrating the 15th anniversary of Trey Magazine. Stephanie is a visionary founder of Neutral Gray LLC. And Stephanie knows a whole lot about narrative design. We're going to talk about what narrative design is and one of the big conferences that I'm sure you've heard about that she's worked very closely with. Houston, Texas is joining us on the airwaves, the best of Houston, Texas, I should say, when we come forward. You're listening to A More Perfect Union in Afternoon Drive Time right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
With 4 things you should know with BIN News. Black Maryland Governor Wes Moore's budget plan offers a $173 average tax cut for 2/3 of residents while adding higher tax brackets for top earners and a 1% capital gain surcharge. Merced, California police made 3,500 traffic stops in 2023, down 16%, but with increased detentions of Black and Hispanic individuals. Attorney General Rob Bonta says state data on 4.7 million stops is key to addressing disparities and building trust. Albuquerque, New Mexico Mayor Tim Keller honored late NAACP President Harold Bailey as a community leader and advocate. Police Chief Harold Medina called him a trailblazer. Bailey passed away this week at 78. And the National Baptist Convention, the oldest and largest Black religious gathering in the U.S., is happening this week at Birmingham's 16th Street Baptist Church, representing over 21,000 churches and nearly 8 million members. I'm Amber Payton on the Black Information Network, your home for Black news.